Hello from Legal Week 2019 in New York City, New York. I'm Laurence Colletti.
I'm David Fisher.
I'm Neeraj Rajpal.
And we're on the road with Legal Talk Network. And we're back. We're hanging out here in the Big Apple at the Legal Week 2019, and we ran into some friends and a new friend apparently here, so we just met somebody new. Let me just do a quick round of introductions. We have David Fisher joining us from Integra Ledger. Hello.
Hi there. Glad to be back.
And we have a new friend, Neeraj Rajpal, also joining us from Integra Ledger. We'll get into your position in a second, but welcome to the show first.
Thank you.
Excellent. So we ran into you guys. We weren't even going to come to Legal Week, but then we got, as my boss says, we got conference shamed into coming, and so we decided to go. And I'm glad we did. It's been a really great visit here. And so why don't we start with the basics for people that aren't as familiar with Integra Ledger. It's more than just Integra Ledger. There's a lot more involved with it. David, why don't we start with you? Tell us about your position, the company, and how everything intertwines.
Absolutely. So I'm the founder and CEO of Integra Ledger, which is the blockchain for the world's legal industry. I mean, we're building blockchain infrastructure, what we would call a data integrity utility for the world's legal industry and the world's lawyers. We're also the founder of the Global Legal Blockchain Consortium, which is the largest consortium of legal organizations in the world focused on blockchain technology. We just crossed over 190 organizations, which is exciting. And frequent listeners of Legal Talk Network have probably followed this since its inception. Really. So in the last 18 months to grow to 190 organizations in 25 countries is incredible. We're also the founders of the Global Legal Hackathon, which aligns with our strategy of just building community around legal technology innovation.
All right. And Neeraj, how about you?
So I'm the Chief Innovation Officer for Integra Ledger. I joined literally a couple of weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And my responsibility is really focused on the legal tech ecosystem. As David mentioned, we're building the ecosystem for the legal blockchain community and working with the legal tech companies and of course my peers, the law firms, the big corporate houses, as well as the legal industry to do some proof of concept, do some awareness, and really in essence, make them aware of what we're doing in the ecosystem itself. It's pretty exciting.
Well, excellent. So I guess my first question to you guys is, why are you here? What is it about Legal Week that has attracted you? I know there's got to be some business going on. David, as someone that's been in the Denver office when a lot of your projects have come by, I'm sure there's something cooking on a burner somewhere.
Well, we heard there was going to be a polar vortex, or I forget what it was called. So we thought, we want to be there. We want to experience this like negative 20. No. I mean, it's Legal Week. So it's big legal organizations focused on technology. Obviously, as a key player in the legal technology ecosystem, especially for blockchain, we need to have a presence here. And so we've spent the week meeting with leaders of software companies, of large corporate legal departments, and certainly law firms to advance discussions in some cases about just the general state of the technology, and others to work on proposed proofs of concept for the actual rollout of blockchain technology and features and systems that actually probably a lot of listeners use. So that's an exciting thing that's coming in the months ahead. And then ultimately, we're starting to really accelerate the number of blockchain integrations with existing software platforms. And I mean, that's our primary focus for applying this technology, which is to build it into existing programs that people use, and we would describe this just as a trust layer or digital trust for software that people use. But fundamentally, we're here to meet our friends, make new ones, and advance blockchain and the law.
Excellent.
So for me, it was great. I'm from New York, so for me, I've attended every Legal Week as a speaker, as a host, as people meeting my friends in the legal community. For me, this time around, it was even more exciting because for me, I was not just meeting my friends, but also speaking to the legal tech companies and educating them, making them aware of what Integra Ledger is all about. And at the end of the day, it's an exciting week. I mean, everybody's here, everybody's excited. They want to, it's the beginning of the year, and it's New York. Yes, it's cold, but it's New York.
It's very cold.
So, David, I saw on the agenda that you were presenting while you were here. So it wasn't just about meeting other vendors, but you're also presenting as well.
I was on two panels. I guess one of them was officially a workshop, both obviously focused on blockchain and specifically blockchain uses and applications in law. And so it was fun to show some demos there and just explain more about how the technology works. I thought both panels were very successful. One was in the legal CIO track, and the other one was a more of a general just workshop session.
I ran into your colleague, Jay Hall, at one of the sessions that I jumped in on, which I thought was great. It was titled From Conversation to Conversion, Getting Lawyers to Use New Tools. And so had I known what I know now, I would recommend to every vendor that's in the expo hall to send a representative to that particular session, because I got an eye-opener in terms of the psychology in law firms about innovating and implementing those innovations and new technologies. There are a lot of obstacles there, and the people that were presenting, they're very nice. They walked us through some of those obstacles and how they overcome them and how they deal with it. So that's really, really interesting. I thought that for that alone, I think was definitely worth coming. So I guess my next question to you guys, you're here, you got to experience a little bit of it. David, you got to present. You've been talking with some folks. What were some great takeaways that you're going to walk away from the conference?
People have been talking about an inflection point in legal tech and legal innovation for years. And if you look at the deals that have been announced in the last year and some just recently, and the pace of those deals and some huge capital raises, and then just talking to some of our counterparts, in kind of the core legal tech space, I get the sense that the pace and the scale of innovation is accelerating and growing. I don't know, Neeraj, what do you think?
So I'll tell you, my biggest takeaway has been, speaking to my peers and of course the legal tech partners that I've been talking to for the last couple of days, it's that word blockchain being misused so much. I mean, it's unbelievable when you use the word blockchain and you hear back from people and you're like, really? That's not blockchain. I mean, that's not what we're talking about. So the reason I'm at Integra is really, David and I were talking a couple of weeks ago, and the biggest selling point for me was we're not selling you anything. We are, in essence, building the ecosystem for the legal, blockchain community to work under. That is, to me, the biggest statement of all, because there's no product. We're not selling you anything. We don't want you to buy anything, but we want you to understand that what we're really building, and it's going to happen, a small baby step at a time. And it's amazing, 190 people being part of the Global Legal Blockchain Consortium.
190 organizations representing probably 100,000.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's like we are almost on track to become the second largest consortium in the world. And by no marketing, we are just, in essence, speaking to people. That's pretty big.
So Neeraj, I'm going to put you on the spot. So a softball question, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Other than David Fisher, who was your favorite presenter during the Legal Week 2019?
I wish I could tell you. I didn't attend any session, though.
Oh, my goodness.
So I got to take David as my number one and number two. Sorry.
Gotcha. And David, besides yourself, who was the favorite presenter?
I was mostly occupied in sessions that were just private meetings. So So Jay, that you mentioned, attended the session, so it's better to ask him. But I did my duty and presented the two panels, and otherwise I was in private meetings with managing partners and CEOs and that sort of thing.
Speaking of polar vortexes and other forces of nature, I understand that we have another Global Legal Hackathon coming up, and so there's some announcements.
Yes. So you guys were a huge supporter of Global Legal Hackathon 1.0 about a year ago. Well, I think we're headed towards 50 cities around the world. So it's bigger. It's going to be bigger. I think we're in more countries. Still 6 continents. So we're represented everywhere. The amazing Brazilians, I think, are headed towards 8 or 10 cities. So Brazil's going big with us. I think we have about 10 in the United States, and like I said, about 50 around the world. So that's exciting. And we announced a major new initiative as part of the hackathon this year. It's something we call the Growl Initiative, GROWL, and that stands for Global Rise of Women in Legal Tech. And we've been just blown away at the response to this. Nita Sanger, who recently joined the Integra team as Chief Strategy Officer, she was previously at Wolters Kluwer as the Global Head of Innovation. She's leading both the hackathon and the Growl Initiative. And what Growl is, ultimately, it'll be we think the world's largest panel of women legal innovation, legal tech leaders who are volunteering to act as mentors to women-led teams. in the hackathon around the world, and the Growl Initiative will extend beyond the hackathon, but operationally it's really launching from within the hackathon this year. The hackathon is February 22nd to 24th, and we saw an opportunity to take especially in this moment of focus on diversity, inclusion, partner promotion, advancement, that sort of thing. And obviously there's that noteworthy letter that was published early in the week from 170 GCs, on the topic. And so it was serendipitous that we had announced Growl just 2 weeks prior to that. And we've seen this almost viral engagement of senior women leaders around the world. And we're very excited to see how that plays out during the hackathon, as they actively support and we think amplify what women are doing in legal tech and legal innovation around the world.
Now, we were neck deep in it last year. We got a really good look under the hood of the Global Legal Hackathon, but there's going to be some listeners out there. They're hearing Global Legal Hackathon. Like, what is that? What type of event is that? You're hearing all these countries, all these cities. What are you guys doing, David?
So do you want me to describe the nature of the event?
Yes.
Okay. So people get confused by the word hackathon. And I think that's a conjunction of hacker and marathon. I mean, it's innovation. It's an innovation sprint. We might describe it. And what you do is you register for the event. There's no cost.
Teams, right?
And we register as an individual.
Okay.
And it's for a weekend. And like I said, it starts Friday night, February 22nd, in cities all over the world, in local time zones. So at 5 or 6 o'clock, you go to the venue that's hosting in your respective city. You socialize, beer, pizza, appetizers, whatever. So just mix and mingle. And about 7 o'clock or so, there's kind of a welcome and call to order. And any individual that wants to pitch an idea can basically sign up to do so. And so you might have 20 or 30 or 50 people lined up, and you get 60 seconds, a hard stop, 60 seconds to pitch any idea in legal innovation. And that can be for private benefit, some tool for profit. It can be access to justice, public benefit, doesn't matter. It just has to be legal industry related. And after all those 60-second quickfire pitches are completed, the crowd that's assembled for the event, and that could be 100, 150, 200 people, depending on the venue, votes on the top ideas. So it's really crowdsourcing the best ideas, so to speak. So the top 10 or 15 vote getters are the team, or are the ideas that proceed through the rest of the weekend. Once those top 10 or 15 are selected, all the rest of the participants voluntarily associate themselves with one of the teams. And each of those 10 or 15 teams are the teams that go through the rest of the weekend. And so for the rest of the night on Friday, all the way through Saturday, all day, and then Sunday up until about 5 o'clock, those teams work together to build an MVP, minimum viable product. So working technology prototype. They select a name, they do branding, social media. They might even get customer feedback, even real customers in some cases. In some venues around the world, people actually even sleep at the venue, and they're like working on like 24/7. It's amazing what's produced. And so on Sunday evening, we have a panel at every venue. There's a panel of judges. And usually these are local legal industry leaders. Like over in the UK, you have Christina Blacklaws, the president of the Law Society. Usually prominent folks serve on the panel of judges. They judge all of these presentations. Each of those 10 to 15 teams that's gone through the weekend has 5 minutes to pitch and present, 5 minutes of follow-up questions, and then the judges confer and they select a winner. From that point, the winners of all the respective venues around the world, all 50 or so, go to what we call a virtual semifinal. And for that, we have a panel of global judges. And so from those 50 semifinalists, the finalists are selected, and those teams are invited to a gala and finals event in New York City. And that, I think, it will be in May of this year. It's a whole innovation competition of sorts, but more than competition, we really think of this as experiential learning for innovation. There aren't that many opportunities in, say, a law firm or a corporate legal department to really go and do what would feel like an R&D project, right? and this is an opportunity not just for an hour. It's not a seminar. I mean, to actually for an entire weekend, join a team, experience what it's like to go through the ideation and iteration and rapid prototyping, agile development, all the way through in about 54 hours to presenting, working prototype and pitching that. And we saw from last year that there are actually some teams that went on to commercialize that and launch. And so it's mostly about experiential learning and education. There's a competitive portion to it, but ultimately, from our perspective, it's about bringing the world's legal community and legal innovation community together, in a global platform to learn mostly and play a little bit.
Do you have to be a software programmer to participate?
No. You just have to have an interest in the legal industry. It's helpful if you know something about the legal industry. But you think about a team. You need business people. You need legal expertise, some knowledge of the market. You need programmers. You need graphic designers. You need. Imagine you're launching a company. Imagine you're launching a business. It just so happens that all those processes are compressed into a weekend. But it's remarkable what a team, of diverse, talents and experiences, oftentimes, people that have never met each other can accomplish in just 2.5 days.
Yeah, we did. We went last year, and it was a lot of fun. I remember, in particular, an interview with a group called Rights Now, and they did a full pivot in the middle.
On Saturday night.
On Saturday night, they actually went by and they asked me what I thought about one of their ideas, and I had to give them the honest answer, and I said, I don't see the value. They did a complete. They came up with something new, and to their credit, worked it around pretty fast, and then went out and did some man on the street, woman on the street interviews with testing the product, and came back. And
I was there. We were the New York venue was hosted by American Express at their headquarters, and they literally went down to the shopping mall attached to the building. And started grabbing people off the street and saying, "Hey, can we interview you?"
It was absolutely tremendous, a lot of fun. So, if you haven't done so, you're thinking about participation, you should definitely reach out. So, David, just in terms of the date, obviously this one, I don't know if they can still register or not.
Yes,
they
absolutely. So, February 22nd to 24th in cities around the world. Go to globallegalhackathon.com. And from there, you can proceed to get instructions on how to register. Again, there's no cost to participate. You just need to have a weekend free and need to bring plenty of enthusiasm.
Excellent. Well, last question for you guys, just real quick before we close it out. For listeners, they want to follow up with you guys. How can they find you? Raj, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, so my email address is the best way. It's NRAJPAL, my first initial last name, at integraledger.com. I just want to add a couple of things to what David said. So to me, the hackathon was a new concept. I mean, I came from the global, legal CIO world. So when I came here and David started talking to me, I looked at him and said, what is this? What are you trying to break into anything? I mean, the word hackathon, right? And I started realizing, holy cow, this is a great concept. I mean, if you look at innovation and you look at what comes out of innovation or innovative companies per se, I mean, I can tell you this 9 out of 10 ideas fail, but it's that one idea that you're looking for which hits a home run. So for me, this is very exciting. The fact that we're hosting it in New York and at Microsoft is even bigger. And I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it.
And David?
You can reach me at dfisher@integraledger.com, and LinkedIn's also a good way to get a hold of me.
Well, we've reached the end of the road for today's episode, but I want to thank our guests for joining us today and also our listeners for tuning in. If you like what you heard today, please subscribe, rate, and review us in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcasting app. We'll see you next time for another episode of On the Road with Legal Talk Network.
If you'd like more information about what you've heard today, please visit LegalTalkNetwork.com. Subscribe via iTunes and RSS. Find us on Twitter and Facebook, or download our free Legal Talk Network app in Google Play and iTunes. The views expressed by the participants of this program are their own and do not represent the views of, nor are they endorsed by, Legal Talk Network, its officers, directors, employees, agents, representatives, shareholders, and subsidiaries. None of the content should be considered legal advice. As always, consult a lawyer.